Namaskar. Today I have a new guest, Colonel Mayank Chaubey. And when you see him, you'll be reminded of another guest that comes frequently on our channel. First, let's meet Colonel Mayank Chaubey. Colonel Mayank Chaubey, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. An honor and pleasure to have you on our channel, sir.
Namaskaram, sir, and thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. I've been observing your platform, following it regularly, sir, and I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very, very kind words. And viewers, Colonel Mayank Chaubey has been coming on a few channels on YouTube. He has really impressed me with his articulation. And you can be sure today that whatever tough questions I pose to him, he'll articulate the answers. The first question, Mayank, Colonel Chaubey, the first question is, see, India enjoyed an element of surprise. The way India hit back, the way it countered all these things. I mean, these people thought PL-15 is the ultimate. They thought that Barkatiyars were the ultimate, and everything got smashed up. A few here and there made their way. Unfortunate, but overall, India had a very resounding response. Now, what has happened is when the enemy is underestimating you and coming in with whatever he has got, and you have shown your strength. Now, what happens is he's going to go back, recalibrate, and he's going to up the side, ante on his side. Now, India also has to be ready to keep moving forward. I'm assuming that is happening. But India definitely, this is not me. This is the Aam Aadmi in India saying India had the element of surprise. Why did we cease the hostilities? We are not saying ceasefire. Why did we stop? Why did we put a pause? Make it easy, right? So I just want to understand from a army perspective what really happened, because you also saw another thing, right? The DGMO Navy was not happy at the last one. He said it was my turn next, and nothing. Something to that effect. That's how we saw it from outside. So talk to us a little bit about Operation Sindoor. We know it is not stopped, it is on pause. And there are statements coming out from the defense minister, from the prime minister, from the home minister. So taking all this into perspective, kind of tell our viewers, where do you think India stands and what India will do next, according to you?
So, thank you so much, sir. It will be a slightly lengthy answer, sir,
No problem.
to the beautiful question that you have posed. Now, let us go back to April 22nd, sir, where 26 innocent tourists, they are killed on the basis of their religion. That's a very clear thing that happened on the 22nd of April. Now, 23rd of April, the Prime Minister goes to Bihar, and in Madhubani, he makes a statement, and he uses English also. English was meant to convey to the world as to what Indians were thinking. And what happens is he clarifies that we will go after the terrorists till the end of the earth. We will find them, we will hunt them. And not only the terrorists, their handlers will also be delivered what they really deserve. And hum unko dhool mein mila denge. These were his words. So probably at that time, India had laid down as to what we were willing to do. And then comes Operation Sindoor per se. So on the intervening night of 6th and 7th of May, India launches precision pinpoint attacks on various launch pads, training centers, and centers of the terrorists. And we take them out beautifully in a matter of 23 minutes. Some say 22, some say 23, whatever be the case. But then it was well below 25 minutes. Sir, I am very sure that this action will be taught in every military academy of every country in the world, because the army was given an objective, and the objective was to eliminate these targets, and the army did it. When I say army, I mean the armed forces. The army, navy, and the air force are included. So we took down these targets and we eliminated everything, and within 23 minutes we said, okay, we have done it and now it's over. So what we were doing is we were taking care of the escalation matrix as well. We didn't want to escalate, so we just touched the terrorists. And the beauty is, sir, just to avoid collateral damage, the time that was selected was 1 o'clock in the night, when nobody visits the madrasas, nobody visits the mosques, nobody is there on the streets shopping, buying, or moving around. So the time selected was such that there is no collateral damage, or I may say minimum collateral damage. And then we stuck. and after striking, we held back. Now, what happens is we knew that Pakistan will definitely respond because they have to show to the public that we are a force to reckon with. And they have an army which has a country to themselves. So, Pakistan launches attacks through the air. The ground wasn't used, they used the air. So, they launched an offensive using drones, swarms of drones. They launched missiles. They pressed their aircrafts into action. And of course, we had the air defense systems very robust, a multi-layered system working on our side of the border, and we took them on down. Now, India was supposed to counter this offensive. So what we do is we strike hard on their air force bases from where these attacks were launched. So we take down 11 air force bases, and then we say, okay, done, we have done it. Now, we did it despite many constraints. Pakistan didn't close their airspace. They were flying civilian aircrafts as close to Lahore. There was the Airbus A320 in flight with 117 passengers on board. And India had to exercise utmost restraint should they strike this civilian aircraft by chance. And we did everything precisely and without much loss. I'm using the word much because if you launch the armed forces into battle, please expect some losses to be there. When Muhammad Ali enters the fighting rink, 1 or 2 boxes will land on Muhammad Ali's face also. Although he may win the bout, but he also has to suffer something. So the Indian Armed Forces completed this, and once they had stuck hard, they stuck deep. Pakistani Air Force was pulverized. I can say pulverized because they were unable to move. Not a single aircraft could take on. They were pinned to ground. We hit certain assets, and which made the Pakistani DGMO ring up our DGMO in the morning, and this was told to us in the presser by General Ghai himself, that he gave a ring that he wanted to speak to me, and at 3:30 or 3:25 in the evening, both the DGMOs speak, and then comes the announcement which Mr. Trump has announced on Twitter, that he has brokered a peace deal. Of course, Pakistan went a begging to Mr. Trump that please broker a deal and please tell India that we will not strike, but please exercise restraint. So what we did, like a good neighbor and a true democracy, we respected our neighbor, and whatever the case may be, we decide that we will cease hostilities, we will not fire. Knowing Pakistan very well, we had again swarms of drones flying into Jammu and Kashmir. I remember there was a tweet from Mr. Omar Abdullah who says, what the hell, there are drones up in Srinagar. And then again we had to take countermeasures. But probably they were giving covering fire because this time the Pakistani regulars were trying to ingress into the Indian territory, and they were not the terrorists which were being done. This was again told to us by the DGMO. And then the things petered away and the things came to a grinding halt. And then the public came up and they said that we should have balkanized Pakistan. We should have taken over POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan because this was the opportunity. Now, sir, I would like to remind your viewers that the armed forces are given an objective, and the objective was achieved within 23 minutes. What we were doing was we were taking on Pakistan as a result of their attack on us. So we were mounting counterattacks on them. We were not taking direct action on Pakistan. So we were reacting to what they were saying or doing, but we were not taking action on our own. So expecting something which is not being told is slightly harsh on the armed forces, or if you may say the government as such. The objective was achieved and we came out victorious. The words which were used by the Air Vice Marshal, if you remember, that it was a thumping one. He used the word thumping. So let us be very happy, pleased that we pinned down Pakistan and made him beg for mercy. Now they may shout, cry hoarse, they may make their chief a failed marshal. It doesn't affect us. These are all antics which we expect Pakistan to do. They always rejoice in their loss also. So they still claim in Mutalaba Pakistan that in 1971 they defeated India. And when we challenged them that, okay, your country was divided into two, he said, no, that was only East Pakistan, but on the western side we had one. So that is their logic. And I would say that is logic of absurdity. And we don't expect much from Pakistan. But then our country people, they are very sane. they understand that the objective which was given to the armed forces was achieved well in time. And with that, I think we should be satisfied with what we achieved.
Thank you so much, Colonel Chaubey. So let's take the thing back. See, if you take this skirmish from 22nd April to 10th of May, right? If you think of this, instead of battle on the ground as a war, if you take this in a courtroom, and I'm going to go now to United States, not in India, because I'm not too familiar with the legal system in India. In United States, what happens is there is an aggressor, very clear, Pakistani army. It has been established beyond doubt that one of the people who was the assassins was a regular. Everything has been established. So the link has been established. So the aggressor acted on the 22nd of April. India hit back on the 6th. Unfortunately, in these 14 days, they evacuated all the terrorists to other places, and it is now believed that 15,000 are waiting to get in from POJK. We don't know the exact number. Let's just set the thing aside. I'm transposing the thing to a legal court, a legal battle here. So aggressor has been established, and he has been punished in such a way that the aggressor begged for a cessation of hostilities. I'm not going to say ceasefire, cessation of hostilities. What happens is when such a thing goes to a court, the court looks at the evidence and the court will say, look, you, Pakistan, are the guilty party here. And for the trouble you created to India, you have to give so much as compensatory damages. Second thing the court does is, in order for you to not repeat this again, you have to pay 10 times the compensatory amount as punitive damages. This punitive damages is very important because you hit them so hard that even if they got 40 billion in 10 years, the amount of reparations that they have to give to India will be so much that they cannot but accept that we cannot even think about this anymore. We are under the burden of so much loan. Unfortunately, if I take this thing and transpose it back to the ground, India seems to have this generosity that is beyond belief. Beyond belief. India lost some ground in 1965 war in desert of Rajasthan, but we were within 4 kilometers of Lahore. You still have pictures of people standing in front of Lahore, police stations and taking. India was completely running that place, right? And yet India withdrew. This is 65. In 71, 72, India just returned 93,000, and we are still waiting to hear from the 54 prisoners of war that Pakistan took. Unfortunately, one of my relatives is believed to be there. I still don't know the fate of him, and probably he has already passed on, unfortunately. My point in saying all this is somewhere that reparation part has been missed out here. What are your thoughts on this? Of course, you can say the court hota hai, war hota hai. That's a perfectly acceptable answer. But I'm just trying to, this is the feelings that are coming out of people's mind. I was in India, by the way. Right through the conflict, I was in India, so I know the feeling. It wasn't like I was sitting halfway across the world and making all these things up. Over to you, sir.
Sir, let us take a hypothetical case, sir. I have an egg, and I hand over that egg to Mr. Sri Iyer, and I say, please crush it. Sir, what will happen to your hand?
It gets dirty.
It gets dirty, sir.
It's not ready yet.
Sir, of course, you might be a vegetarian, you won't like that scene, but then just for the example's sake, sir. Sir, if the same egg, I let it rest in the nest where the hen sits over it, and after some time, what will happen, sir?
It'll hatch and you'll get a chicken. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It'll hatch. A beautiful life will be born, sir. Sir, now take your mind back to POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan, sir. Do you really want that egg in your hand? Or do you want that hen to sit, relax, and wait for a new life to be born? And I'll rest my case here, sir. You've got a very intelligent audience. They will understand what I mean to say, sir.
Great answer. Great answer. Thank you. By the way, viewers, I actually put Colonel Chaubey on the spot here because I felt that this is what is going through everybody's minds. Colonel Chaubey, POJK and Gilgit Baltistan, somehow India is sort of like, it's a mixed bag. That's how India is thinking. I think India's thoughts are closer to what is happening in Balochistan, just looking at their day-to-day difficulties and sufferings. And see, what has now happened is, I don't know what India thought, but Pakistan is getting more money, more commitments, and for what? I don't understand. What is it that they have that they didn't have before? People were allowing them to rot, and suddenly everybody is generous. What do you think is happening? How did this change in mind come about for the donor nations?
Sir, let us take a small example, sir. There are three countries in the world which the world doesn't want to be strong. And the three countries I will name, they are Israel, the second is Russia, and the third country, fortunately or unfortunately, is India, sir. So the entire world will collude and will want all these three nations to remain weak, to be engaged in a conflict, and their economies should go downwards. Now, sir, let us take our mind back to what is happening in all the parts of the world, sir. Israel, everybody knows, Israel is facing hell from Hamas. 7th of October, people go plunder, kill, and they act as barbarians in Israel. But when Israel takes action on Hamas, everybody is up in arms and they collude with Hamas and they show that the Palestinians are the victims. Number two, Russia. Russia is forced to take some action. The entire Western world feeds Ukraine with weapon systems, and they provoke him and they want him to keep fighting. And so that Russia keeps bleeding. That is a fact of life. The third country is our own country, India. Sir, Pakistan is existing just because India is existing. The day India stops progressing, Pakistan will be eliminated. It will be worthless. It will be worthless to the entire world. Sir, Pakistan will keep on needling India. Why? Because people don't want us to reach the stage where we are headed to. We have become the fourth largest economy now. We have surpassed Japan, and very soon we'll be surpassing Germany also. I think matter of 2 or 3 years. Nobody wants to see that. Secondly, Pakistan in the state of Balochistan and Gilgit-Baltistan has got a very high reserve of rare earth elements. I have authored an article on that, sir. Now, what happens is that China is the biggest exporter of rare earth elements to USA. In the month of November, they decide that they will not export these metals to USA. USA has got its own reserves, and like every time, USA doesn't want to use its reserves. So he goes scampering, looking where the reserves are. So in the month of April 2025, there's a high-level Congress delegation that lands in Pakistan to negotiate a deal for excavation of rare earth elements from Balochistan. And the second thing is in Gilgit-Baltistan. Sir, are we connecting the dots? What is the interest of USA and China in Pakistan? Oil is there, copper is there, but these elements which have atomic number 57 to 71, part of the lanthanide series, they are used in every element which we speak of in green energy. And that is the need of the hour. Everybody wants that. So this is not a simple case of India and Pakistan. We have much more behind it. Much more geopolitical plays are going on, which probably a common Indian is failing to understand. And it is our duty, people like you and other sane voices, to bring to the fore what exactly is going behind the curtains. So if you see, on the night of 9th and 10th, the Indian Navy was raring to go. INS Vikrant, the fleet was ready. 10th, they were supposed to break out and they were supposed to hammer Pakistan from the seaside. The entire Makran coast was sealed. Pakistan Navy, the ships and the submarines were in the dock, and they would have been docked forever. And that is the reason why the Director General Naval Operations was sad. He was angry that day that, okay, Army and the Air Force, they got their thing to do. I was left high and dry. I could not do what I was supposed to do. So the Defense Minister goes to INS Vikrant and says that had Navy been allowed, Pakistan would have been balkanized. These were the statements of the defense minister, assuring those 1,500 men aboard INS Vikrant that your time will come if in case Pakistan doesn't behave. And then he gives a clarion call that hand over these two terrorists to us, and he raised the bar for Pakistan. So tough times for Pakistan. We are just waiting and watching. It's not only the Indus Water Treaty which is coming into play. Pakistan is being strangulated from all sides. Trump would have given $1 billion to Pakistan through the IMF. He would have negotiated a deal of cryptocurrency through his son, along with the Pakistan Cryptocurrency Council, which was raised. And this company from Trump got $300 million from a company in the previous year which had zero, not a single dollar of turnover. And in the next year, they promised $300 million to Trump coin. So a lot of things are going on behind the curtains here, and people are observing. And we are just sitting and smiling on what things are going on and observing the case.
Thank you so much. Now, let's go back to Indus Water Treaty. And India has, held back water. They are saying that there is 21% scarcity in Punjab for Kharif crop. And this is, excuse me, if proper water, regular water doesn't come, this is going to become much bigger problem. In fact, we had covered in Karachi International Airport, a famous actress was saying that there wasn't even water in the washroom. So this is how things are in Karachi. Be that as it may, this Barrick put out a report saying there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of material. Sarji, this is the rehash of what happened 3 years ago. Bajwa claimed that he had a deal for $6 billion for the same thing. I don't know what happened in that deal. Again, Barrick was a player then also. And now again the same thing, except that US says that it is interested. I am trying to make sense of it. What is there in Rikodik and other places in Balochistan, and what is real and what is unreal? Because China has not really succeeded in taking much out. They may have done a few, but it is coming at a very heavy cost. By the way, Colonel Chaubey, I want your opinion also on one more thing. A couple of days ago, the ambassador of China was attacked in Quetta. So over to you.
Sir, China has got the stomach to take body bags into the country and without a whimper. But when the Americans try to step in, sir, the Baloch will not be very friendly toward the Americans, sir. Can America afford a body bag in their country because of this misadventure, I must say, which they are trying in Balochistan? This is what we are supposed to watch. You may have a deal, sir. Balochistan, the Baloch, they feel that the natural assets are theirs and they have been deprived of these assets. The case in point is the Sui gas. 52, they find Sui gas. 55, Sui gas is extracted and through pipelines sent from Sindh to Lahore, to Punjab. And it took 34 years for Balochistan to get gas in their own state. So the Baloch are observing all this, sir. And they view the Chinese as aggressors, not friendly, and they have attacked the Chinese. In fact, any person who looks Oriental, apparently they have even attacked the Japanese, thinking that he was a Chinese. So an attack on the Chinese ambassador is nothing new. It was expected. It would have come in any way. So the Baloch at present are up in arms. The reason being, sir, 12 Corps in Quetta has been denuded. Two of its infantry divisions, 44 and 31, have moved towards the Indian border. So now they are left with only one division to guard 44% of land mass of Pakistan. And to take on, they say 1,500 militants, but I say they are 1.5 crore people who are struggling for their own rights. They are fighting for asmita in Hindi, we say, self-respect. And this fight cannot be crushed or quelled. So Balochistan, what I foresee, it's a matter of some time and Balochistan will set itself free. And that is the fate of Pakistan. And then it will be a big problem gaping towards USA also, because USA would have invested. Now let us see how can USA keep that area in peace. Of course, that is in pieces at present, because what happened in Chagai Hills, may not be very, very open to the general public. But if you recollect, in the first presser, the DGISPR said that the Indians, they attacked Afghanistan. Why? Because there was an earthquake which was felt in Quetta as well as Afghanistan, which was measured at 4 on the Richter scale. And the earthquake was a result of not natural seismic activity, no tectonic plates shifted, but because certain explosives underground, they went off. They may be conventional explosives, they may be other explosives, but it certainly happened. And similar tremors were felt in Punjab also, because somewhere near Sargodha something happened. So there are many things to it, sir, and we can keep discussing on these aspects.
Well, moving forward, India has said that, we may not have the finger on the trigger, but at least the safety is off. My interpretation. This is Western slang, basically saying that I can anytime pick up and start firing.
Yes.
Be that as it may, India also has aggressively tried to purge all these people trying to come in. And now it is summer season. Your thoughts on how this summer is going to be? Are these 15,000 going to try something new? Because as far as I know, beyond a group of 2 or 3, people cannot sneak in so easily, whether it is IB or LOC.
Very correct, sir. These summers are going to be very, very harsh for the Pakistani common man. If you try to notice, what is happening is that the terrorists, the UN designated terrorists, they are invited for a felicitation ceremony of the new field marshal. So you have a UN designated terrorist attending that party. Then on the 28th of May, you have a big terrorist convention in Kasur, Pakistan. You have a UN designated terrorist attending it, a son of a UN designated terrorist addressing. And the UN designated terrorist, what he's doing is he's claiming stake that what we did in Pahalgam and what we did here, and we are going to not stop at this point of time. And on the stage, you find people, the representatives of the Punjab province, the members of the legislative assembly sitting on that stage. So you see the army top brass attending the funerals of terrorists, they attending parties with the terrorists, and then their leaders attending the stage show of these terrorists. So what we see is that now they are giving legitimacy to these terrorists, showing to the world that we are with them, and to hell with the FATF or UN, if at all you exist, that we are going to side by these terrorists. Now the reason being is that now they are trying to feed in their public, that is it India who is stopping the Indus water, and we are going to die because of water, and water means war. So they are trying to divert the anger of the public, which was supposed to be directed toward their army and their politicians. They are trying desperately to divert their attention towards India as the enemy. So you will foresee congregations and people trying to ingress the border states, and Nepal is one of their chosen routes. So already the government is in action. We have taken note of it. Some unauthorized constructions have been cleared in 4 districts of Uttar Pradesh. So action is at hand. The government is not leaving that 0.5 front like that. Everything is in place, and we are waiting and watching, and our guard is not down. God forbid. So the government has not specified what is the red line when it comes to terrorist activity. We have said the moment there's a terrorist activity in India, we are supposed to reply, and the reply will be fierce and punitive as per the DGMO. Now we don't know as to what is that threshold value. Say an injury to an Indian or killing of 10 people. Nobody knows that what activity, and we are ready to preempt if in case we find that the launch pad that is getting active on the Pakistani side, we might as well take it down. We have the capability and the intent to do it, and the Indian Armed Forces are capable of doing anything at this point of time.
Thank you so much, sir. Last question before we wind up, or take some questions from our viewers. Last question. See, two people gave identical statements. पानी नहीं दोगे तो हम सांस निकाल देंगे और सांस ले लेंगे. हाँ. So we are going to take your oxygen if you don't give us water. The way one can interpret that is that they think that they have some chemical weapons that they may be able to unleash in against India. Now, I want to take us back to the second wave of COVID. Viewers, you need to go back and connect some dots here. Colonel Chaubey, you can feel free to agree or disagree with me, but it is believed that the second wave originated from Dharavi slum. And these were canisters that were brought in there, and something was released. This is the belief. And the people who were releasing them, they were wearing hazmat, which is hazardous materials, which is that white thing with everything, oxygen tanks and all that stuff. So it is believed that that's how the thing escalated, because the first wave was very benign in India. Second wave, not so much. It was very, very bad. So be that as it may, but the temperature, the tropical climate saved India, because these viruses didn't survive that. You take a look at America, most technically advanced nation as far as medicine is concerned, we had many more deaths here. So if they want to do something like that, if they want to come in and try and set about something similar, how prepared is India? Because this is not so easy to tackle. I'll tell you one reason, sir. Winds blow from Pakistan to India and across to beyond. The wind doesn't go the other way, I don't think, at least at this point of time. Maybe at some point it might change direction. Your thoughts on how India is going to be tackling such an event if it should happen?
Sir, in fact, that was the showstopper. I was intending to come to that, but then you spill the beans.
Sorry.
This is what the DG ISPR and Hafiz Saeed meant when they said that तुम अगर पानी नहीं दोगे तो हम तुम्हारी सांसें रोक देंगे. Of course, you don't expect much from the DG ISPR, being son of a terrorist himself. So he will have to parrot the same line what the terrorist says. And having terrorist blood flowing in his veins, you don't expect much from him. Yes, there can be a chance. Sir, if you notice, when we attacked the Noor Khan Air Base, there was a facility just adjacent to it, and there was a top attack ammunition which was put into place. It made a gaping hole on the earth, and the diameter of that hole was around 3 meters. And then the explosive went inside and it blasted. The effect of the blast, it was seen on the surface also. And what I've heard is that the Pakistanis have decided to entomb that facility. Whosoever was inside it stays inside. So either they were charred to death or they were infected, whatever the case may be. But they decided to entomb that facility. So I don't know whether their threat can be taken on their face value. Of course, we will not lower our guard. But I think we have done something substantial at that point of time. My sources say, yes, they have decided to entomb that because of certain reasons. Why do you entomb a facility, sir? Because there might be a certain leak. The leak can be gaseous, the leak can be biological, the leak can be radiation. Radiation, I won't say, because Noor Khan Air Base is surrounded by 5 facilities which serve their nuclear purposes. Their Zakhira, the depot, was in Chagai Hills and in Kirana Hills. So here something else was present which we took down, and they decided to entomb that. Maybe we have finished that stockpile as well. Maybe, sir. I won't be very sure. They might be having it somewhere else, because you don't keep all the eggs in one basket. So yes, we have to be wary of the fact that they might try anything sinister, because they desperately want India to go down on their knees, and the world is not very pleased with what India is doing. So our progress is not being appreciated by most people in the world. They might say on the overt side that, okay, we are very happy. But then it has always been that Pakistan has been given the F-16 planes to fight the terrorists. Sir, tell me which country, which army fights terrorists with the help of fighter planes? So we all understand, sir. We all understand. Sir.
Very true, very true, very true. Thank you so much. So this Noor Khan incident, and also Kirana Hills and Chagai Hills, it all tells us that there has been substantial damage. By the way, I've also heard that near Islamabad, they had a center which had, I think, 30 or 40% operational functionality as the labs in Wuhan.
Yes,
this is with Chinese help.
Yes.
They have established something here, and United States knows about it. By the way, it's known to everybody. Viewers, I have done a program 3-4 years ago, when at the height of COVID, there are 300 Wuhan-like labs that US has commissioned outside the United States.
Yes.
Everything is gain of function research. We don't even know what are all the other things that they are trying to do. But this is what US has done, and I had made a passionate plea that you need to shut all these things down. It's one too many. So they do have something from China. Now, one thing also, we'll just keep that thing for next another topic. I have one last question. India has identified Turkey and acted against them. Why have they not identified the role of China and acted against them? Last question, then question, Q&A.
So there was a lady who had tweeted, and she was trying to equate China with Turkey. And my response to her was that India does not do Operation Dost with China, sir. We did that with Turkey. We helped them in the hour of their need. We established a field hospital there. We mobilized our armed forces. We mobilized our NDRF. All our resources were put into place, and we rescued people. And we saved Turkey from a real disaster. That was codenamed Operation Dost. We don't do Operation Dost with China. So we should not be equating Turkey with China. India knows that Turkey will always speak against India in any international forum. That's a known fact. They will always side by Pakistan because Mr. Erdogan wants to be the next Khalifa or the Caliph. Everybody knows. He wants to rule the Islamic world. Everybody knows that. Despite that, we still went like a good country, and we were the first responders in their hour of need. So China, as it is, we know China is an adversary. China supplies weapons to Pakistan. It is a well-known fact. But did we find any Chinese national operating the drones or the HQ-9 systems in Pakistan? Negative. We found 2 people from the Turkey. They were sitting in Sialkot and they were operating the drones sitting in Pakistan. India took both these gentlemen out, and their funeral was carried out. People were seen laying wreath on their bodies. Sir, once you employ your manpower to help my enemy country, you become my enemy. That's a very clear statement. China didn't do that. China gave them weaponry. China gave them everything, support, everything. But then you didn't have Chinese boots on ground, which Turkey dared to do. So this time the lines have been drawn, and I have been advocating boycott Turkey. Sir.
I think I'll take your word for it. I've heard some stories that Chinese also got killed. It could have been Noor Khan base also. We don't know. I mean, if they are entombed, they are entombed. That could be also another reason.
Actually, what is happening is, if in case they went down in Noor Khan Air Base, they were not operating the bases, sir. They were probably building something there to help Pakistan. And unfortunately, they became the collateral damage. But Turkey, these guys were manning their drones. That is the difference, sir. You are fighting against me. So,
thank you so much. Let's take a few questions from our viewers now.
Sir.
MSCLRS wants to know, we have joined hands with Japan to create AMCA engines. Are we not going to partner with Russia or help them out now, especially after Ukraine's dastardly attack?
Sir, what is going on behind closed doors, I am not aware to it. But then we will definitely help Russia in their hour of need. If in case we have the wherewithal and we have the strength to do that, we will definitely do something. In diplomacy, sir, not everything is said. Lot of thing is done and it is not said. When it comes to engines, of course, Japan has got a beautiful engine which they have offered us. AMCA, we are trying to build our own also. So we had our options open with the G414, which America was driving their feet. France came up with the Safrans. We have the Japanese option, and we have our own systems also working towards it. So I would love my AMCA to fly with my own engines. That is my take on it, sir. But let me see how our scientists and how our metallurgists, they come up to this. So the market is open. We can take it from anybody, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Next question, please. Arav Mudan Vijay Raghavan wants to know, why are we not recognizing Balochistan and in turn get licensed to use their rare earths to benefit both India and the Baloch? Why are we waiting and watching? This is going back to your egg syndrome. Egg
Yes,
example.
Sir, in fact, The egg was basically for the POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan, sir. Balochistan is a beautiful place. Sir, one of the Shakti Peeths, the Hinglaj Mata Mandir is present in Balochistan. And had it not been the Baloch, sir, this temple would have been vandalized by the Pakistanis as they are, sir. Sharda Peeth, you know, that is the another Shakti Peeth that is in Pakistan. It is in bad shape. So I don't expect anything from the Pakistanis, but Balochs are Baloch, sir. Sir, there's a beautiful incident, if in case I'm allowed to narrate that, sir.
Oh, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir, the Hinglaj Mata Mandir is taken care of by a priest which comes from Sindh. Sir, the Baloch, they got angry that this temple is ours. Why a person from Sindh come and look after the temple? Sir, they own this temple. What they do is they carry out the Tirth Yatra to Hinglaj Mata ka Mandir and they call it Nani Ka Hajj. Sir, that is the reverence the people from Balochistan, they have towards a Hindu Shakti Peeth, sir. So Baloch are not Pakistanis, sir. They are a sensible people, oppressed people, and personally I feel that the Baloch, they deserve a recognition from the Indian government. I don't know why we are not doing it, but personally speaking, I am for the Baloch cause wholeheartedly, sir.
Next question, please. SK Digital wants to know, what's your opinion on the new currency notes of the next door neighbors with temples on it? Any new trick up their sleeves? I don't know.
Sir, I am not privy to this information, sir.
Yeah, me too.
Sir.
ये लोग घास खाएंगे लेकिन मंदिर का नहीं, तस्वीर नहीं डालेंगे.
नहीं सर, वो कुफ्र है सर, वो. That is kufr.
Yeah, kufr.
Sir.
You know, this is what, you know, really puzzles me. These are people that don't want to admit that, you know, they were Hindus once, maybe 1,000 years ago, but doesn't matter. In fact, you go back all the way to Middle East, right? What was the biggest trade? It was human slave trade. Every time all the raiders were men, they took back Hindu women. So there are good chances that if you did DNA testing as way back as in like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, many of them may have Hindu blood in them. So you just need to wake up and smell the coffee, I guess. So we'll see. It could happen in our lifetime. Last question, I think Vishnu Gopi wants to know, what is the difference between our Brahmos and Russian Brahmos? Can it make out Patriot systems? Can it take out Patriot systems? Russia is not using in Ukraine war.
Sir, let me take your mind back to the facilities existing in Pakistan, sir. That was Kirana Hills and Chagai Hills, sir. Both were engaged. We know that. And they were engaged very effectively, sir. And now it will take centuries for the Pakistanis to enter into that facility, sir. Sir, if in case, and I will not stop at that they were Pakistani facilities, I feel that they were facilities from NATO. And that is why the Turkish transport aircraft was standing in Islamabad, and they say that it had come for refueling. Maybe it came to take out the assets of NATO back to Turkey. Maybe. Sir, we had a A350 Beachmaster which takes off from the US within 2 hours of the attack on these two hills. Sir, is USA so concerned about Pakistan or a leak in Pakistan that it would launch its Beachmaster which moves on the orders of Pentagon so soon? चलिए sir, इसको भी छोड़ देते हैं. Let us take the example of an IL-76 which flies off from Egypt. It carries boron carbide. Boron carbide, as we know, sir, it dampens the waste and it arrests the flow of neutrons. It flies from Egypt within no time. Sir, does Pakistan have the diplomatic heft to move an aircraft full of boron carbide, which is found in abundance in the Nile Delta, into Pakistan so soon? That means there was something else involved and somebody else was calling the shots. If in case I have got my assets sitting there, sir, will I leave it to the mercy of Pakistanis to guard them, sir? No, I will have my own systems in place. And if in case I speak of my systems are Patriot systems. So that means if I hit the facility, that means the Patriot systems have also failed. Have I answered the question, sir?
Thank you so much. And that brings us to a close of what I would call as a fascinating debut on part of Col Mayank Chaubey on our channel. Thank you, sir. We are looking forward to having you on a periodic basis. See, the thing about this conversation is I've had many people, many distinguished generals and colonels and other people on our channel. This conversation was a little bit more, I think I was asking you some tough questions. And you were Sehwag-esque. It's all I can say. Thank you so much, sir. And
My
looking
pleasure.
forward to seeing many more such sessions. Namaskar.
Namaskaram, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me, sir. Jai Hind.